Good day to each one of us. I am Judy and BD Noyo, and I am assigned to tackle about the topic eco-literacy or ecological literacy. So at the end of the discussion, you are expected to attain the following objectives: the definition, the 5 ways to develop the eco-literacy, the core aspects of eco-literacy, as well as the importance of eco-literacy. And now let's move on with the definition. So what is eco-literacy or the ecological literacy? So it is the ability to understand the natural systems that make life on Earth possible. This involves the real number system, the solar system, and planetary atmospheric circulation. These are the elements that we can see outside, like the environment, all the living things that we can see outside and inside here. So the other definition is that a powerful concept as it creates a foundation for an integrated approach to environmental problems. So if we can be able to enhance and develop ourselves to be able to get interconnected with the natural system, then we can exert more effort to become more environmentally aware. So for example, we tend to know how to recycle the plastic, or we can able to dispose or segregate the plastics and the papers. We can able to conserve the water and electricity, and kabaw mo support not just in the local but also in the community and the society. Next definition is that short for ecological literacy is the knowledge and understanding about ecology, environment, and sustainability, and the ability to use ecology-related information to make informed decisions. So, di ba, we have a quoted word that ang kabataan is ang pag-asa ng bayan. So, dapat as young as they are, as early as now, we, as a future educator, we should encourage them to know and learn more about on how to nurture and preserve the environment or the ecosystem, so that in the long run or in the future they can be able to apply the learnings that they have way back when we teach them that. Next definition is that ecological literacy means to understand how nature sustains life, because sustained life is a property of the entire ecosystem rather than a single organism or species. So it provides us with a wide range of knowledge that our environment is really quite beneficial. Since the environment is the one that sustains our life, it's quite beneficial, right? Because it helps us on how to live in the fullest, like the water and also the food that we are encountering in everyday life, in terms of breathing, in which we can tend to get the air through the ecosystem. So let's just bear in mind that the natural environment gives us the wealth of services that no dollar or peso can pay. So next, let's move on with what does it mean to be an eco-literate? So it means understanding the principles of organization of ecological communities and using those principles sustainable human communities. So in order for us to be an eco-literate person, is that we need to understand more and to have the knowledge or essence of ecosystem, so that we can value the natural system as well as, or the ecosystem, so that the organisms or the species and all living things can be able to live and better access or in a sustainable environment. Because nowadays it's quite alarming that we tend to hear some current issues nowadays, like kanang many people does illegal logging, kanang mga illegal doings in related with the ecosystem and all quite natural stuff, which is maka-affect towards the environment and also sa ato ang health. Next is the 5 ways to develop eco-literacy. So first is we should develop empathy for all forms of life. So by focusing on their relationship with their surroundings, students learn how a society lives when it values other forms of life. So by creating a direct contact of the other living things through planting, take a field trip with a mountain or in the forest, and also get involved sa mga rescue centers, and by that we can develop and ma-practice nato ang atong eco-literate. Next is embrace sustainability as a community practice. So whenever na mga program or kanang mga activities outside and inside the community, we should get along and join with them so that we can better preserve and able to help them in ways that we can, especially in regards with the current issues, so that we can be able to find solution in every problem. So by learning about the wondrous ways that plants, animals, and other living things are interdependent, students are inspired to consider the role of interconnectedness within their communities and see the value in strengthening those relationships. So whenever kibaw na sila mo conserve and supply sa environment that they need, like kabaw na sila mo take care sa mga animals and mo feed ang mga animals, and also especially sa mga trees and in the environment, is that ma-aware na ang mga students sa mga living things and sa mga organisms, then ma-maintain nila ang ilahang well-being and makaget interconnected sila sa nature. Next is make them invisible visible. If we strive to develop ways of living that are more life-affirming, we must find ways to make visible the things that seem invisible. We all know that the things we found outside the environment, or as well as inside, are quite can be seen by our eyes. Kana ganing makita dahil nato kanapia ang mga dogs, cats, but there are some organisms that we can see anang kanang naman sa ama ng mga leaves, kanang naman ay mga organisms like kanang mga bees. We should take advantage to kana ganing mangita pumaagi unsaon nato pag-discover ana nga kanang organism. So kanang mangita ta paagi, so ato ang microscope or telescope baron, so that we can discover and has the knowledge to or ability to think systematically to make that to discover that organism for us to be able to improve our abilities with that. Next is anticipate unintended consequences. So it is then easier to group the complexity of our decisions and foresee possible implications. So we should bear in mind the things to do and what should be done, and not in response with the environment, since they also have reactions. So if we are responsible because we are a student, then we should be mindful enough on what should we do. Like kabaw naman kahit mo take good care of our environment, so dapat we should be a good role model, especially to all the mga students or sa mga children outside. Like dili lang puro gadgets ang ilang mga ati mo, no, dapat they should take advantage nga mutabang within the community unsaon pag-preserve sa nature, unsaon pag-take good care, like mag mag-create kag program in terms of tree planting and so whatever, para maka-help tag-build og good relationship so that we can get interconnected with the nature and sa ecosystem. So there are core aspects of ecological literacy. First is principles of living systems. When we say the living systems, this involves the human body, the forest, the river, and community wherein students become, as students reconnected living systems to living things were interconnected. So this system is self-organized and open, in which ang mga students is able to get interconnected with the ecosystem because they able to know how to preserve and nurture the nature with their own abilities. Next is design inspired by nature. So when we say there are two designs that inspired by the nature. This is the biophilia, the biomimicry, or the biomimetics. So ang goal ani nga ecological design kay mo ni siya ang mo transform sa human activities in the human act in the world, in which mo practice ni sila to become responsible enough to provide food, shelter, energy, and in livelihood. Next would be the system thinking. So ecoliteracy literature is guided by an understanding of system, in which it's called system thinking. So this part is that students apply what they've learned based on the experiences and the lessons that they've had before, for that they can able to get connected with the nature. For example, sa bird, di ba maka-identify dahil ta nga, songbird na siya. It's because of the chirping sounds that atong na-notice. Next would be the ecological paradigm and the transition to sustainability. So, support sa health and its quality of life to prevent and present it in the future generation. So, sustainability is not just about the basic needs, but also it's a human survival, which it create a process that has a sense of life in a society. Next would be the collaboration, in which collaboration, community building, and citizenship. Ecoliteracy is not just to emphasize, but it is a community practice in a local community where interconnectedness happen, and by this is that makabuild sila or kita og strong relationship both individual because of the understanding that we need to apply later on in the real world setting, so that we can make a difference if we can get this interconnectedness all together. And the other one, the last one is, why is ecoliteracy important? So it is important because this place would foster joy in a relationship with the best of nature and encourage children to have an ongoing relationship with natural process. Whether there whether this is a corner of an urban, schoolyard, wilderness areas. Through ecological literacy, children and adults grow to understand nature and their place in nature. So, why ecoliteracy is important? It is important because it helps our world a better place. Like in every now and then, we can get um more knowledge, and we can discover more about the environment, and we can and kanang makatabang sa also ta sa ato ang local community and the others society as well. And also the conclusions present in the PowerPoint. And also this is the sources, diha na mo na search ang amo ang mga ideas and amo ang mga resources. And this is the group members and the leader, Melody G. Hatotoa. So that would be all of my report. Thank you for listening.